Hey everyone, welcome back to TNA. I'm Chris Midgley and I'm here with Rafat Ali, the CEO and founder of Skift. Today we attended Skift Megatrends 2026 in Cape Town, where we saw some amazing insights and some really exciting news, not only for South Africa, but for the African continent as well. Rafat, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
The trends and the analysis from your team, absolutely mind-blowing. The level of thinking is just so clever, and we can we sit there and think, you know, these are not only really good insights, but practical examples that the tourism industry can use. And I think that's sometimes lacking when we see this. Is it something that Skift focuses on?
Yeah, so think of us as the Bloomberg of travel, so news, research, conferences, marketing services, consulting services for the global travel industry.
Yep.
I live in New York. Our company is headquartered in the US, but we're a virtual global company. And for us, you know, how can we not be in Africa? Because just, we talked about all the stuff about population growth, the trends in terms of growth of tourism within the continent of Africa, people coming in, African travelers flowing out, which I think is the future big growth market.
Yeah.
And then inter-Africa, which generally gets ignored. COVID, I guess the countries woke up here and said we actually have domestic tourists.
100%.
And so I think a lot of focus has to be internal as well. Yeah, so 1.3 billion people.
It's a massive number of people, and I think you're right that it is a market that has been neglected. The intra-Africa travel. You hear a lot of people very excited to travel to the States, very excited to travel to Europe. You don't often hear about people as excited to travel into Africa.
Yeah.
And it's perception.
I think it's changing because, whether it's AFCON, like people within Africa traveling, the sports tournament that just happened. I think we coined this term life tourism, which is essentially umbrella term for sports, music, entertainment, natural phenomena, group travel.
Yeah.
And I think the more countries lean into bringing sports and music events or other types of events, and people follow the teams throughout different parts of the continent, gives people a reason, obviously not just to watch the matches or the games or whatever else they're watching, but to do tourism as well, and then become repeat visitors.
And I think that speaks to the one trend that you guys spoke about, moving beyond safari, where Africa's got so much to offer, but we know what we're doing, but we're not really sharing the message with the rest of the world.
That is there. I mean, it's very, though the access to nature and wildlife that countries here have, obviously not anywhere else in the world. So certainly that'll be part of it, but then that as a base to then spread people around, create experiences that sort of move beyond that. Is I think where the opportunity is. We also talked a bunch about essentially airline lift into the continent, out of the continent, intra-continent, the visa challenges that have obviously South Africa is much better than other countries in the region. So I think tourism growth is not a rocket science.
No, it's not.
It's one sort of brick at a time. And that's kind of what we talked about.
And I think as we build that, when you spoke about Elif and just the interesting stat that your team shared with us, that South Africa has no direct flights with India, a population of over a billion.
which we talk about India all the time now on Skift about, in all different places. In US, which, all kinds of issues happening in US, India post-COVID became the third largest overseas market of visitors coming to US. That's a long haul market. It's shorter to come to South Africa for them.
100%.
And there's latent understanding of South Africa from cricket.
That's where I think that's the sports tourism can be that pull factor.
I think it could be. Certainly cricket. In India, it's Bollywood cricket. That's a religion.
It's a religion.
Yeah.
From your side, do you see this being a purely governmental drive from regulations that need changing, or is this?
Well, I think certainly that's the base, but I think one of the things that I think is missing in many countries is obsession with sort of Western investors and Western tourists. And I think betting on your own investors, entrepreneurs, homegrown entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Because that's where you want to channel the energy of the youth, make them in charge, or help them build their own businesses. You don't even have to make them in charge. Make it easy for them to start their own businesses.
Yep. And then drive that for
100%.
the rest of the world. And like you say, not neglect certain markets where we've maybe potentially overlooked other markets and focused on Western Europe, focused on the Western-based countries. I think that's really good. One thing we also I appreciated was how you guys gave examples from other developing nations. Often we see a lot of stats and stuff that are given out of a very homogenous society, and we want to say that doesn't fit for the African model. And so I think that's one thing that
we see a lot of similarities in Latin American market and African market on how they're developing tourism, and a country like Colombia that came out of a very sort of sordid past of drugs and trafficking, etc., now have built in their cities. And one of the things that they really focused on is quality of living in cities for the locals. And if you make it the quality of living better, it's also better for the tourists.
The knock-on effect.
Yeah. So like Medellin, which is used to be the drug capital of the world, is a booming tourism city. People moving there from US and other parts of the world because they made the living for locals a lot better, and that spurs tourism. That's an example of things that potentially can happen.
From a visa perspective, things like these digital nomad visas that are becoming more popular throughout the world. You see a lot of people. Cape Town has a lot of people here encouraging people to come and live in a city, but they obviously are earning in generally a higher currency. I'm sure it's something they're doing in South America. It's popular in parts of Asia as well. Do you think this will also drive tourism?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming out of COVID seemed like it would a lot more. A lot of the companies, particularly in the, for instance, the financial community, have called all their employees back, and they're back in offices and stuff. So a little bit of air has gone out of that, but certainly young people who are independent creators on YouTube, etc., are a market for that. And I think because they're in general thought leaders, and word spreads through them. So I would look at them less as a giant market in itself, but them as amplifiers.
Amplifiers to the market.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then the last question from our side, we believe you've done quite a few things while you've been here in South Africa. Do you want to share any of those experiences and what really sort of touched you?
Yeah, I mentioned this on stage. I went to Robben Island yesterday and met Christo Brand, who was Mandela's prison guard, and he gave me the key to cell number 5. And his it's 466/64 was Mandela's number.
Prison number, yes.
Prison number. And so, which is a very moving moment, and to open the door of the cell and to be able to see the cell preserved so well was very moving. So certainly that part.
Fantastic. We know that while you're here, you've also been able to watch a cricket match. So
I know,
coming to the live sports, exploring the Kruger, and I think this all speaks back to the stuff that you've said.
Food, the Cape Malay cuisine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we hope to have you back in South Africa and in Africa soon.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you. Shukran.